Whether it's design, cooking, or any other skill, we all want to learn from the best. And that's why MasterClass is so popular. But their subscription locks you for a whole year. You can't pay month by month. And this is a lot of commitment, especially if you're not sure about the classes and maybe you only want to take 2 of them. I mean, I don't even know what I want to do next weekend. How do I know I want to commit myself to this program for 1 year? Well, don't sweat because I have done the hard work for you. I watched Corey Damen Jenkins' entire masterclass on interior design and decor, and today I'm going to give you the highlights. So if you're not quite sure what the course has to offer, yet you're pretty curious and you want to get like a little taste and also maybe like a review from someone who has taken it, this video is for you. Nowadays, if you're to Google Corey Damen Jenkins, you see him celebrated as one of the most accomplished interior designers today. I'm very envious. So he's featured in places like Decor, Architectural Digest, and he also has his own book, Design Remix, which is pretty cool. He's known for his bold use of color and pattern, but he didn't really start off this way. When I found out about his origin story, I was pretty impressed and really humbled. So this is how he started. It was the freezing winter in Detroit. He was laid off from his industry and he really wanted to pursue interior design, but he didn't have any connections. He didn't know anyone in it. This is not the industry he was from. So what did he do? He knocked on 779 doors looking for his first client. Oh, that's a lot of rejection to go through. Can you imagine that? And he built his brand step by step, room by room, just by knocking on doors and asking people if they wanted him to help him design something. This was a really inspiring story. As someone who left the traditional architecture practice, I can really relate. I mean, I'm trying to build my brand online by giving out all of the knowledge I have in my head about design that I've accumulated through like over a decade of studying and working. And somehow I have never felt more like a failure, because every time you upload a video onto YouTube and you don't get so many views or nobody really responds, it kind of feels like the whole internet is saying, no, not useful enough, not good enough, we reject you. So that also kind of stings. Does that sting more than being physically rejected with a door slammed in your face? I think not. So for him to be rejected over 700 times, it humbles me. It's really powerful. And everyone who is successful has not had it easy in the beginning. You only see the overnight success, but you don't see all of the tears and the sweat and the rejection they face in the beginning. So if he can face rejection over 700 times, I'm also not allowed to give up my YouTube channel until I've uploaded at least 779 videos. So we have a while to go yet. With that said, let's move on to the content of this video, which is why you came, and let's make it a good one. Hopefully, not a rejected one. Thanks, internet, do your thing. Every single space, no matter how big or small, should be treated like a jewelry box. Each room is an opportunity to make something incredible. It doesn't matter whether it's a tiny kitchen, a laundry room, a living room. They are all opportunities to exercise your design muscles and make it beautiful. The entryway is your chance to make a lasting impression. Whether it's through artwork, a mirror, or a bold statement piece on the wall, you should make it count. Guests might forget the details of your home, but they'll always remember the feeling that your foyer gives them. It's like the saying, you never get a chance to make a first impression, and this is the same thing with your entryway. Decide what you want to do with the space, and then design the layout accordingly. Will the TV be the main focal point, or will the room be for conversations and for board games? The layout must reflect the room's main function, because if the layout isn't practical for how you want to use the space, no amount of paint color, decor, and cushions will make it comfortable. Your kitchen is really important. The kitchen is the heart of the home, so it should be as welcoming as it is practical. So whether you have a striking backsplash or a statement lighting above the island, try to inject some personality with every choice you make. You should also plan in a lot of storage for your kitchen, because this will make it super practical and functional. Comfort is paramount in the bedroom. So your choice of linens, pillows, lighting, curtains, they should all reflect how you want to feel in your bedroom. Are you the kind of person who want your mornings to be bright and to be woken up naturally by sunlight? Or do you prefer to sleep in, so you want blackout curtains? If you're a designer, whether for someone else or for yourself, you need to understand the user's preferences so you can make the right decision to make sure the bedroom, the whole sleeping, waking up experience is correct for the person. When it comes to the kids' bedroom, you should focus on the child's needs, not just the requirements from the parents. You should sit down with the child and learn what their favorite colors and styles are. But remember, children grow and their tastes change quickly when they're growing, so invest in pieces that's adaptable. Don't go super crazy on, I don't know, like the Barbie theme and make everything pink and fluffy when you know that in 3 years' time they might outgrow it and you have to redecorate and get new furniture all over again. And when it comes to your home office, it should inspire creativity. So whether you're someone who prefers neutral tones or vibrant jewel colors, the space must reflect your personal vision. Make it functional but energizing, and it's important that you separate it from the rest of your home to maintain a boundary between work and life. People in cities and in Europe generally live in much smaller places than, say, if you're American. So I know a lot of people still have their offices next to their beds in their bedroom, and you can't separate the space. But if you're fortunate enough to have a separate room or a separate corner in the room for your home office, then do that. Like, don't work from bed. Texture plays a huge role in how a space feels, whether that's silk, metal, or velvet. They all evoke different emotions. Like a navy blue velvet sofa can feel luxurious and rich, while a navy blue linen sofa can feel a lot more light and casual. If everyone is doing it, think twice. Trends come and go, but a well thought out design lasts for a very long time. When picking colors or furniture, consider going against the grain to create something timeless. Most people enjoy some glamour, but you have to be careful and balance it out. A little bling can go a long way when you layer it into a design. I mean, I personally love to use a little bit of bling, whether it's metallic handles, something shiny as a decor object, or, you know, hints of velvet here and there. It's all about restraint and knowing how much is the right amount to add, because if you go a little bit overboard, the bling and the glamour can very quickly start to look tacky and a little bit overwhelming. The more you look and the more references you have in your head, the more you kind of understand what you like. So explore widely, you know, don't limit your inspiration to one style or one source. Draw from a lot of different areas, magazines, architecture books, even fashion runways. Keep updating your mental library of images and inspiration. I mean, if I decorated my home exactly how I want, I think I wouldn't have a husband anymore. So you have to get input from everyone and find a way to balance the different viewpoints of what people like and, you know, how they want to use the space. Always start with a mood board. A mood board is essential for bringing your vision to life. It helps communicate the style, the feeling, and the direction of the project. If you put something together and it's not working on the mood board, it's not going to work in the room. So build your concept carefully and make sure it aligns with your vision. A simple way to start defining your style is by looking in your wardrobe. What colors and fabrics do you gravitate towards? If a certain color works well on you, it might work in your home too. So just build from there, layer by layer. Getting color right is key to creating a space that feels cohesive and vibrant. So don't rush into painting. Let fabrics guide your paint choices and not the other way around. If you choose a bold wall color before you're finalizing the fabrics for your furniture or your curtains, you risk clashing elements that don't work together. So always match paint to your existing pieces. It's much easier to adjust paint color to furniture than the other way around. And it's a lot cheaper too. I mean, sofas can cost thousands, whereas a can of paint, a few hundred maximum. Light has a huge impact on how colors appear, so always consider the room's natural light. Does it get a lot of sunlight, which means that the light is going to be a little bit more yellow? Or is it a north-facing room, which means that the light is never going to be direct and it's going to be a lot colder, a lot more blue? I talk about this in detail in some of my other videos, so after this you can click the link on my other videos. But yeah, this is a pretty good point, and most designers will talk about the color of the light when it comes to decorating your interior spaces. Before you paint the ceiling, the walls, the floor, everything in one color, test the paint patch first. Test. Test several shades by painting large swatches on your walls. Observe how the color changes throughout the day as the light shifts. And also live with it for a few days and see if you still like it. Avoid using high gloss paint finishes as test samples, because when you paint the walls in different swatches using high gloss, it will affect how your future coats will look. You can't really completely cover it up. It will still be a little bit reflective even after you paint over it. Accent walls can be really powerful, but only if they're used thoughtfully. Your eye is naturally drawn to the boldest statement in the room, which is the accent wall. So make sure that it actually is worth highlighting before you paint it. If you make a random wall into a statement wall, it doesn't make much sense. You'll look at it and it'll annoy you and it'll feel a bit weird. Because a color board is going to help you organize and present your design vision. By laying out the fabric, the paint swatches, and the textures, you're going to be able to see how everything works together before you commit to it. If you're not designing for yourself but for someone else, it also helps to have a color board so you can communicate your vision to the future client by clearly showing how the finished space will look. When it comes to mixing and matching patterns, creating harmony with different patterns can be quite difficult. But when it's done right, it can add depth and interest to a space. So here is how you can mix and match like a professional, like Corey Damen Jenkins. So first, you have to avoid clustering large patterns together. Introduce diversity by mixing different sizes and scales. This helps keep the design dynamic. If you're someone who is like a maximalist and you love his style of colors and patterns, don't go too overboard. It doesn't matter how much stimulation you need, your eye sometimes still needs a rest. It needs a break. So just incorporate some solid fabrics alongside patterns to give the room some breathing space. If you have too many patterns, it can overstimulate and tire your eyes. It's like going to Tokyo and just seeing the neon lights everywhere, which is super cool for a time, but you don't really want to live there forever. And if you're designing for a home, you should also just sometimes calm things down a bit. Every design needs a focal point, so try to choose a lead pattern and edit the rest. Not every pattern needs to cover everything, and not everything needs to be the center of attention. You can have one that is like the leader in the room, and then the rest can just act in a supporting role. When you are using so many different patterns, what brings them all together? What harmonizes them? Well, color. Even when mixing different scales and motifs, try to keep the color palette consistent. Windows are pretty cool. If we don't have windows in our home, I think we'd all be really, really depressed. So let's talk about window treatments. According to this masterclass, there are 4 main types of window treatments, each with its own function and style. You have draperies, curtains, shades, and blinds. Shades and blinds are not the same. Shades are solid coverings that roll up into a fixture. When drawn down, they provide full blackout coverage. Blinds, on the other hand, consist of individual slats that can be adjusted to control the amount of light entering the room. I think the reason you need to choose carefully between shades and blinds comes down to the amount of control you want to have. Shades are great because they give you complete privacy, but they don't have as much flexibility. Blinds, they have a bit more flexibility, but I feel like they always remind me of an office, and I think they gather dust way more easily between the individual slats, so it's a little bit more maintenance to keep it clean. Draperies and curtains are not the same. Many people use these terms interchangeably, but they are not the same. Draperies are long and extend to the floor, often puddling or just breaking at the bottom. Curtains, however, are shorter and they don't touch the floor. So the key here is the length. Draperies tend to look a bit more elegant, more formal, or curtains are a bit more casual. So depending on the vibe you want to have in your space, this can also make a big difference. Pleated draperies are also a thing. They come in various styles, such as Euro pleats, which pinch at the top, which looks tailored. When it comes to these draperies, it's all about personal preference. According to him, there's no right or wrong way to style it. Grommeted draperies are metal rings that are fixed into the top of the drapery, which the rod passes. This creates a clean, modern look, and it's great for a more transitional or contemporary space. One thing you might have not thought about is the drapery hardware, but this can also be quite a fun thing to pick out. So the hardware, which are the rods and the brackets, can be as much of a design feature as the drapery itself. Options include brass, nickel, or wood, and they all look and feel different. The weight of your fabric should also affect the choice of the hardware you pick. For example, heavy fabrics need sturdy rods to avoid sagging. Because window treatments are typically custom orders and they can't be returned, so accurate measurements are critical. Measure once, measure twice, and then measure again. The right combination of lighting can make or break your space. And according to him, you can basically categorize the light into 3 buckets. You have task lighting, you have ambient lighting, and you have accent lighting. Task lighting is functional and provides focus light for specific tasks. For example, bathroom mirror for daily grooming, pendant light over the kitchen counter for food preparation, stairwell lighting for safety, and under-mounted LED fixtures to highlight countertops for cooking. Task lighting is mostly there because you need it. Ambient lighting sets the overall mood and provides general illumination. So these can be like decorative sconces, recessed ceiling lights, chandeliers. Accent lighting is used to highlight specific objects or features in the room. You want spotlights to illuminate sculptures or a light above a piece of artwork because that's worth a lot of money. To help you visualize how a space is supposed to look, you can also use digital softwares. He often uses Photoshop to visually lay out fabrics, colors, and patterns, and this helps him see how everything fit together before finalizing the decisions. And it's much easier to change things on your computer on Photoshop than to change it in real life. You should also design with elevations, not just a floor plan. Elevations provide detailed wall views. These are pretty helpful for laying out features like murals and establishing the best angles for photos. For a person who is not used to looking at floor plan, like, a client, they can benefit a lot from looking at elevations because elevations actually help you visualize the scale and layout and how space really looks in like a normal person's perspective. If you're not so good with computers, you can also use the traditional methods. You don't need high-tech tools to create beautiful designs. You can use old-fashioned pen, paper, pencil, paint. Corey reminds us that some of the world's greatest castles, mansions, and palaces in the old days were built with hand-drawn plans. Digital tools are really helpful and they can be much faster, but the fundamentals of designs always remains the same. Creativity and precision can still be achieved the old-fashioned way, using your hands. When it comes to discussing budget, many people feel uneasy. Yeah, I definitely feel uneasy thinking about money. Mostly because I don't feel like I have enough and I need to make more. But anyway, everybody has a budget, even at the highest level of design. To maximize your budget, you can break it down and focus on key areas. According to Corey's experience, he says about 7 to 10% of your home's value should be allocated for design and decoration. Out of this percentage, you should allocate about 40% for furniture, 10% for accessories, 10% for rugs, 10 to 20% for lighting, 20% for wallpaper and paint, and 10% for window treatments. If your budget is tight, don't spread it thinly across all rooms. Instead, focus on 1 or 2 key rooms, making those spaces the best they can be. It's better, and I agree, to fully furnish a couple of spaces than to half furnish an entire home. So really ask yourself, which rooms are the most important to you? Which ones will you spend the most time in? You don't have to get everything done in one go. You can work on your home in stages. Everyone will have slightly different priorities for where they want to allocate their budget. However, Corey has some recommendations about where to splurge when it comes to your furniture and decor. So he thinks you could invest in art and antiques. Unique or vintage pieces from your travels can't really be replicated. So if you fall in love with something, consider an investment and just buy it when you're traveling. Even if you don't have a spot for it immediately, if you like that item, you will feel really sad that you can't find it anywhere else. Just get it. Do I agree with this? I'm undecided, but this is what he says. This is his masterclass, so I'm just passing on the message here. Okay, he also thinks that you should invest in well-fitting, comfortable chairs or comfortable sofa, because the quality of your upholstery will elevate both the comfort and the luxury of a room. If you have a terrible seat, you'll never want to sit in it, and that's just wasted real estate. You should also consider investing in unique tableware because it's quite personal and it can be very sophisticated, and it can just make your dining experience so much cooler and more enjoyable. And they can be great conversational pieces as well when you're hosting your dinner parties and people are like, wow, your plates are super unique. Do people have parties like this? I feel like I don't really have parties like this. One day, when I'm more grown up, but hopefully not older. I don't want to get older, I just want to get more sophisticated. So the last few pieces of advice is not really about design, but it's about being a design entrepreneur. He has a couple of tips for people who want to become a designer themselves. So first is to build your brand early. Even if you're just at the beginning of your career, try to make everything look as professional as possible. You need a website, business cards, everything in between should be designed with style and aesthetics and value that is true to you. Showcase your work, even if you don't have any yet. At the beginning, you won't have any completed projects, so it's absolutely fine to post coming soon placeholders on your website. But this should be temporary. Once you have more work, you should replace this and put it in. In the meantime, even if you don't have your clients, create your own work. You can decorate your own home. You can sketch floor plans, make mood boards, design concepts, do whatever you can. And the last piece of advice is just to have faith in yourself. Believe in your own potential. Even if you're not where you want to be yet, you are building something great. Stay consistent, put in the hard work, keep creating, and your brand will grow over time. I am implementing this. Let's see if it succeeds in a couple of years. Now that we've gone through the highlights of the course, what is my real opinion about it? Would I recommend it? What are the good and the bad points of this course? Okay, let's talk about the good first. I always like to start with the positive. The masterclass is really, really great production quality. It's visually polished, with high production value that makes it really easy and enjoyable to follow along. The sound editing, the visuals, the audio quality, so professional. Definitely not like YouTube quality. And it was also quite interesting that he went into so much detail about window treatments. This is not really something you ever cover in architecture school, like ever. And even working with real life clients, I don't think you go into so much detail as he ever did. It's an area a lot of people overlook, and his insights here are valuable. He also walks you through like his thinking process when it comes to choosing colors and patterns, because if you look at his designs, they are really like loud. It's not really my style, so I wouldn't really know how to put something together like him. So it's interesting to see how he thinks his projects through. And for me, the most interesting thing was his journey of how he got started in the industry. His story of perseverance in the beginning. Like his story of knocking on hundreds of doors in the freezing winter of Detroit to remind us that building a brand takes like such hard work and resilience, and how setbacks are part of the process. Yeah, it just shows that sometimes you just have to keep knocking, you have to keep going. It's not always very easy. What are the cons of the course? I feel like his style of eclectic exuberance is too bold for me. I think it's kind of cool, but I would actually never decorate in his style, at least for myself. His love for vibrant colors and rich textures and daring patterns create really stunning spaces, but it's definitely not for those who prefer a more understated and minimalist approach. So if you flick through his portfolio of projects he's done and you don't really like the work he does, maybe you don't have to watch his course. So in summary, if you like his designs, it's quite interesting to hear through his thought process and to watch how he works, and like how much attention he pays to certain details that you tend to overlook, like window treatments or like different finishes of window hardware. However, if you don't like the work he normally does, probably you can look at the masterclasses from other designers, because they'll give you just as much information and you end up maybe designing a space that you like more. That's my opinion about it. So if you like this video, you might want to check out the other masterclass reviews I already did. And if you have some design questions about your space and you need personalized advice, you can also just contact me directly. Yeah, I'm trying to build up my own brand of being a designer, someone who really loves to help people and make their home super nice, either by sharing educational content or by actually doing it. So if you have a design conundrum, contact me. Let me help you. Thanks. I hope to see you in the next video.